Our head men's and women's track coach, Marcus Newsom, will wrap things up at Winter Sports Media Day.
Well, welcome to Wartburg, and thanks for being here today. We are really in our second week of our training in terms of our season training. We've had preseason going on 4 days a week in terms of what we've done this preseason, but it's been our second week of training in terms of NCAA rules and regulations for our coaching staff. We have an exciting group of young men and young women, new additions to our returning class that we're extremely excited about. And so we always are excited at how the incoming freshmen make the adjustment. And the exciting part for us is that they don't have to jump in right away at the beginning of the fall. They can kind of, focus in on school a little bit and slowly work their way into the training season for us. So we're really excited. I would tell you, I always say that what really kicks our indoor season off and the success was the start of our season off is what we do in cross country. And Coach Chapman has done a tremendous job this fall with obviously conference runner-ups for both men and women, but also this past weekend, both of our men and women's teams are headed to nationals this weekend. It's been a long time since we've had both men and women at the national championships, and as a director of cross country and track and field, I'm incredibly excited for having both men and women teams representing Wartburg in our athletic department, as well as our institution at the national championships for cross country. So there's going to be some exciting distance runners you're going to see both indoor and outdoor season contributing and working towards contributing to what our goals are in track and field.
So on the women's side of things, you guys graduated people like Taylor Officer, Courtney Soul, and Dakota Tell. Three great people that were either All-Americans or competing at the All-American level. How much are we going to see their losses felt this year?
Well, obviously, you can't replace that 4-year work ethic from those three young ladies. When you're, all those young ladies you just talked about are All-Americans, and so, but at the same time, they had young ladies training underneath them and alongside of them who are very, very excited to step up. It's their time. One of the things we always say is next woman up in our women's program, and you have some young ladies. You had a few freshmen, sophomores, and juniors who was training with that group of athletes who they've kind of showed the way. They just kind of, hand that baton off to the younger group. So we're very excited, but it's tough to replace. You can't replace a group of All-Americans like that. But what you can do is that just what I shared with our upperclassmen this past weekend is that what legacy do you want to leave with the underclassmen so they can carry that on. And so I would say those young ladies who you just spoke about. They left a legacy of excellence and how hard to work and what the expectation is for our women's program.
On the indoor conference race, Nebraska West kind of got you on the women's side, but then you rebounded and swept the titles on both the men's and women's side. What is the team's focus going into this season?
Our number one focus is to start off where we left off. That's the great thing about our sport. Is that we have a full indoor season and a full outdoor season. And as hard as it is to walk away from, I guess consecutive conference championships on the women's side, but to be able to regroup and to be able to win the outdoor championship after coming off of a loss, that tells you the character of our young ladies. But the other exciting thing is for our men and women, it's hard, you all, to win, to be the head coach for both programs and to win both at the same time. That is very hard to do. And so, I just told our men and women's team we want to start off where we left off, and that's winning the conference championship. We won both outdoor championships over in Storm Lake, and we have great momentum coming into this indoor season. And we had a great national championship too with our number of qualifiers who are returning. So we're excited to just kind of start off where we left off, right? So.
So you mentioned the importance of the cross-country team and how much they contribute to the track team as a whole. What is it like to have those people that are kind of technically dual sport, like Eli Kaczynski and Ashlyn, as well as a newcomer like Sam Pinkowski, who took off as a freshman this year for cross-country?
Well, obviously, for our distance runners, it's year-round. It is. And we, most, I would say all the teams around the country who are competing at a very high level nationally, all those athletes are competing basically year round. But it's exciting to see what they do in the fall, understanding how they're going to contribute. When you think about, Eli and Ashlyn, the things that they've been able to do in cross country, that's just going to translate over into the 5K. And the 3K indoors. And then Pinkowski, we're so excited about putting him on the anchor of the DMR. We feel like we were close a year ago, and we felt like we were probably short a miler, right? And so we really feel like after watching him this year, we have our miler, we have our anchor. And also on the women's side, we have two freshmen that's in the top 5 too, who we really feel like those two freshman young ladies, one or the two of them will be our miler, on our DMR as well. So when you think about an indoor national championship where you have the 5K, you have the 3K, you have the mile, but you also have a DMR. That's being able to partner up with what we have in terms of our sprint and hurdles, which has been a great tradition for us at a national championship, our sprint, hurdles, and throws. And now we can partner that up with our tradition of our distance, what we've had in the past with Josh Moen and Missy Buttry. Now we feel like we're back to where we was at. And we feel like that's going to allow us to have that national success so that we don't feel like we're putting so much pressure on one group, one core of other events. We feel like we can be a full team at the national championship now. So.
Your relays have had great success at the national level. Who do you, what kind of parts or who do you see becoming members of those relays this year?
Well, every year, and Katie Jo, you know this because you travel with us a lot, but that's one of the reasons why I always have alternates. I want those alternates, and those alternates are if something happened, I could put them in place and they could be ready to go right away. And so they're deserving to be an alternate. And so when you look at our indoor national championships last year, as well as outdoors, we had alternates for those 4x1s and 4x4, and those alternates are ready to step up and go. And so, and we have various alternates. So, for me, I'm not going to name any names because I want all those alternates to be working to solidify the top 4 spot, and they know who they are, and they just got to put the work in and commit themselves, and we hope that we'll find out who the other alternates are. So one of the reasons I feel like we've had that success nationally in relays is because we have kind of made it uncomfortable for our athletes. No one feels like they have a spot. They have to continue to earn it week in and week out by what they do in the individual events, how they train, and obviously when they take advantage of the opportunity to be on the top relay, how they perform. And so we're pretty excited for who we have returning, and we have some very good freshmen too that we're very excited about. But they have to adjust. They have to adjust to a full collegiate season. So every one of them adjusts at a different time. So.
Staying on that schedule, track is a little different. You practice, so much in the fall, but then you do not compete until the winter. So how do you keep your athletes at that high level?
I think for us, I think our schedule is set up. So, when most schools can start right away in school, we don't. We really want them to get off on a great track academically first. So we really don't do anything together until we get a good month of school in, and then we get together and we start our lifting, and then obviously 2 weeks ago or this is our second week starting our team training. So what we try to do is back our training off where we're not trying to do too much too soon. Matter of fact, my hurdlers right now, they've only had 2 hurdle sessions and they are just nip it. They want to go, and I'm like, just hold back. I want them to want to go, but I think that's part of it. Our throwers, last Friday was the first time our throwers got a chance to actually have an implement in their hand, and it was like Christmas. They got a chance to throw, and same thing in our jumpers. Our high jumpers will be able to jump for the first time, on the mat on tomorrow, and they're excited. So we really try to be careful with our periodization of training, where we're not trying to do too much, but we're just trying to give them enough for them to be excited about it. Because you're right, there's a lot of programs. We could compete in December, but I've never competed in December, because if we compete the first week in December, then all of a sudden they have finals, which we don't train, we don't practice that week, and then they go home for break. Okay, so they can perform extremely well. There's a lot of times of performances that are put up in December, but those kids never come back because they had a 3-week or a 4-week window or break at home, and now they got to start all over again, and they never ever hit that mark again. And so we want to be in a situation where our periodization is set up for them to be at their best, okay, come indoor conference, indoor nationals, outdoor conference, outdoor nationals. So we want to hold them back a little bit. We want them to be excited, and we don't want them to be tired come end of May. So
Thank you for your time.
all right, thank you.